What you're about to hear is the story of a guy who spent 10 years being the unpaid party planner, birthday baker, and emotional support system for his entire office. Cupcakes, gift bags, holiday cards, all of it, out of his own pocket, on his own time. Then his boss called him a bad influence because he overheard half a phone call. So this guy just stopped. Stopped doing all of it. And the fallout? Oh man, the fallout was beautiful. His boss had to step up and do it himself. Spoiler, it involved 7-Eleven donuts and a scavenger hunt that almost got someone hurt. Buckle up. My boss called me a bad influence after I spent 10 years making the office fun. So I stopped. Then he had to do my job for a week, and it was a disaster. So I've been the fun guy at work for about a decade. You know the one. The dude who remembers everyone's birthday and shows up with cupcakes that have little personalized toppers on them. The guy who stays late to hang Dollar Tree streamers and a clearance piñata from Target for some random Cinco de Mayo thing nobody asked for. I'm the one who organized Secret Santa every year, hand-wrote holiday cards, coordinated potlucks, and even remembered that Linda from accounting has a gluten allergy, so I'd grab a separate Costco tray just for her. I knew what kind of candy people liked. I knew who hated surprise parties versus who lived for them. I once drove to 3 different stores on a Saturday to find those specific mini lotions because Holly mentioned offhand that she liked the eucalyptus ones. On a Saturday. My Saturday. That was me. All of it. For 10 years. And I never once got a thank you that felt real. I mean, people said it in that automatic way you say bless you when someone sneezes. But nobody ever pulled me aside and said, hey man, you didn't have to do that. Nobody offered to help. Nobody even asked where the cupcakes came from. They just showed up, and people ate them, and that was that. But I kept doing it because I guess I thought it mattered. I thought being the guy who holds everything together counted for something. Turns out it only counts when you stop. I stopped doing any of that about 2 months ago, and it all comes back to one meeting. One dumb, passive-aggressive, soul-draining little meeting that killed every ounce of above and beyond I had left in me. Rewind to early February. Our company rolled out this new policy where we had to log our in and out hours down to the minute. It's one of those Fortune 500 places where management reads one article and suddenly thinks micromanaging is the same thing as efficiency. Whatever. It was annoying, but fine. I grumbled for a day, rolled my eyes like the rest of us, and moved on. But the group chat was on fire for a full week. Everyone was venting. Everyone was fired up. Now, I'm not a saint, but I've always tried to play both sides. When coworkers start spiraling, I usually walk them back a little. Stuff like, yeah, it's annoying, but it's not the end of the world, or we'll all forget about this by next month. That kind of energy. So I'm on the phone with Tina from HR, who, by the way, is the most dramatic person in our building, and once cried because somebody took her frozen meal out of the shared fridge. And she's going full rant mode about the new policy. I'm just chuckling, tossing in some, yeah, I get it, and honestly, it could be worse type stuff. And we wrapped it up. Should have been the end of it. But nah. My boss, I'll call him Greg, because he seems like the type of dude who definitely corrects you if you shorten his name, had overheard part of the conversation. His office is across from mine, and I guess my door was cracked because my space gets zero airflow and feels like a sauna by noon. The thing is, he only heard my side, which was ironically the most mild-mannered part of the whole call. 3 days later, I get pulled into a quick check-in meeting. I figured it was about the Valentine's Day fundraiser I helped with, or maybe a gift card like last time, when I covered for Holly during her emergency time off. Nope. This man pulls out a printed evaluation sheet. I thought it was just a formality. It was not. The sheet was covered in meets expectations. Not a single exceeds, not even in team morale. Which, if I'm being real, I basically single-handedly kept alive with my brownies and my curated Office Bops playlist on Spotify. Greg starts going on about how my attitude has shifted, how employees look to me as some kind of barometer for the department. Said it was disappointing that I didn't redirect Tina to him during the call. As if Tina would have taken that well. As if any of us actually want to talk to him voluntarily. He literally said, if I don't nip this in the bud now, it's going to fester and create a toxic work environment. Toxic. Me. The guy who personally hand-wrapped 43 holiday mugs stuffed with candy and mini lotions last Christmas. The guy who spent his own money on a Costco run for the team every single month. The guy who stayed 2 hours late on a Tuesday to set up a retirement party for a woman who'd been with the company for 30 years, because nobody else was going to do it. I'm the toxic one. Got it. I didn't even argue. I just sat there. And that's the part that got me later. I didn't push back, didn't defend myself, didn't bring up the fact that I've been subsidizing this office's entire social life out of my own wallet. I just nodded and walked out, which in hindsight probably made Greg think the little talk worked. I left that meeting so stunned I didn't even take my usual detour to the store after work for discount candy. Just went home and laid on the couch staring at my cat, while he knocked over my cup of Diet Pepsi, like a furry little anarchist. And that was the moment I mentally quit doing anything extra. No more birthday cards from the dollar spot at Target. No more ordering custom cakes from the bakery with inside jokes and icing. No more coordinating National Pretzel Day. Yes, we had one. Don't judge. It was fun. I stopped. Did I still show up? Yeah. Did I still do my actual job? Absolutely. My numbers were clean. Clients still liked me. I just stopped being the unpaid office cruise director. Hold on. I gotta jump in here because this is me, not the OP talking. Let me get this straight. This man ran the entire social infrastructure of the office for a decade. Gift bags, cupcakes, holiday mugs, custom playlists. Bro was basically the activities director on a cruise ship, except he wasn't getting paid for it, and the cruise ship was a fluorescent lit cubicle farm. And Greg's big move was to hit him with a meets expectations review. That's like firing the Avengers and replacing them with mall security. Greg, my guy, you just benched your MVP because he was too supportive. Incredible. Anyway, it only gets worse from here. March came around. The monthly birthday lunch showed up, and I just sat there with my sandwich in dead silence, while everyone awkwardly waited for someone to say something nice about Pam. I said nothing. No dessert. No speech. Just vibes. Then there's this appreciation week thing coming up for the facilities crew. Normally, I'd be the one handling everything. Thank you cards, a big box of muffins from Costco, maybe a tray of brownies with little notes stuck to them that say stuff like, "Thanks a latte." But not this time. The email chain was going in circles. Nobody was stepping up. I contributed the same $10 as everyone else, but I wasn't playing party planner anymore. Diane from operations stopped by my desk and gave me this look, like you're really not going to handle this? I just said, don't have the time right now. But I did. Oh, I definitely did. I just didn't have the energy to give this place that part of me anymore. So Facilities Appreciation Week rolls in and, shocker, nothing happens. Monday shows up and the break room is just empty. Normally by then we'd have a whole display set up on the main table. I used to make these ridiculous baskets stuffed with Starbucks gift cards, coffee grounds, jerky, those weird novelty socks from Target with hot dogs on them, even handwritten notes from the team that I'd basically written myself because nobody else ever bothered. I'd spend my whole Sunday assembling everything, printing little thank you tags on cardstock, arranging it all so it looked good. It was kind of embarrassing how much effort I put into it, like a full production. And every year people would walk by and go, "Oh, nice," and grab something, and that was it. This year, blank. Not even a card from Walgreens. I walked by the break room Monday morning, and it looked like any other day. Nobody said anything. Nobody even acknowledged that it was Appreciation Week. The facilities crew, the guys who fix the AC when it dies in July, and unclog the toilets and keep the building from falling apart, got absolutely nothing. And everyone just assumed I'd handle it, like I always did. Like that Christmas when the company didn't give out bonuses, and I literally made individual $5 gift bags out of my own pocket, so the mood wouldn't tank completely. You think I got reimbursed for any of that? Nah. I asked once and got some vague response about non-approved expenses. Still salty about it, honestly. Anyway, Wednesday comes and Greg sends out this company email. Something like, just a reminder that we want to show our appreciation to the facilities team this week. Please stop by the break room to drop off your notes of thanks. Except the break room was a cold, empty wasteland. One unopened box of goldfish crackers someone probably bought for themselves. One crusty Keurig. That's it. The passive aggression kicked in immediately. People started replying to the email chain with stuff like, "Can't wait to see what's planned," and "looking forward to the treats like last year." They knew I'd always handled it. They were fishing. One guy even DM'd me on Teams with, "You usually do something right? Should I get a card?" And I hit him with a, "Not this time, sorry." No explanation. Yo, timeout. For those listening, this is me jumping in, not the OP. I need everyone to understand what's happening here. This entire office ran on one dude's unpaid labor, and nobody noticed until the vending machine stopped dispensing free emotional support. It's like that scene in The Office where Michael Scott leaves, and suddenly everyone realizes Dunder Mifflin is held together by vibes and duct tape. Except Greg isn't even Michael Scott. Michael at least threw pizza parties. Greg threw an email to an empty break room. That's not leadership. That's a group text with a corporate signature. Then, Friday hits. We're all in the weekly morale check-in, a meeting nobody asked for that Greg started after reading some article about maintaining engagement in hybrid environments. It's 30 minutes of forced smiling and fake compliments. But this time, you could feel the tension. Greg opens with a weird speech about ownership and how we all share responsibility for company culture. Then he calls me out. Not by name, but everyone knew. It's disappointing to see certain traditions fall through the cracks. Some folks who've always taken charge seem to be less invested lately. Dead silence. I didn't flinch. I was sipping my iced coffee from McDonald's like it was the best thing I'd ever tasted. Camera on, eyes dead inside. After the call, Pam, the one whose birthday lunch I didn't bake for, came into my office with the fakest, "Hey, everything okay?" I just told her, "Yeah, just focusing on my workload." Then the real fun started. Monday morning, I get a calendar invite. One-on-one check-in. Mandatory. From HR. Now, I've never had problems with HR. I helped organize their baby shower last year. Got them a personalized blanket with the kid's name on it. But I'm not dumb. A one-on-one with HR is never good news. I go in. It's just me and this woman named Brooke, who always smells like vanilla and looks like she's perpetually on her way to a brunch. She starts with, "So, there have been some concerns brought to our attention about team morale and passive disengagement." I actually laughed out loud. First time I'd done that in weeks. She goes on about how leadership noticed a behavioral shift and how it's impacting team dynamics. I ask if my job performance is in question. She says no, my numbers are still solid. Clients are happy, but they're concerned because I've withdrawn from team building contributions. I told her I wasn't aware that organizing gift baskets and cupcake days was a requirement for my role. She stuttered. Actually stuttered, like nobody had ever asked her that before. Then she said something about setting the tone and unofficial responsibilities. I asked if I was getting paid for those. Silence. Long silence. The kind where you can hear the AC humming in the ceiling. Then she goes, "People look up to you. When you pull back, it affects others." And I said, then maybe others should step up for once. Because I've been stepping up for 10 years, and the one time I stopped, I got dragged into a meeting about it. Meeting ends awkwardly. She didn't have a response for that. I walked out, went straight to the break room, and threw away the crumpled facilities week flyer that had been taped to the Keurig all week like a sad little hostage note. That afternoon, I noticed Greg walking past my office twice. Didn't say anything, just peeking. Like he expected me to break out a tray of brownies as some kind of peace offering. And then, right when I thought it was over, the wildest part happens. That Friday, Greg sends an email to the whole team announcing that, due to recent organizational feedback, they'd be implementing rotational morale duties. Rotational morale duties. I nearly choked on my Lunchables. Don't judge. They're nostalgic, and Costco sells them cheap. Now everyone had to take turns planning birthdays, potlucks, appreciation weeks, all of it. A literal morale calendar was attached with names slotted in for the rest of the year. The group chat exploded. Diane got stuck with 2 events back to back because of scheduling fairness. Cole, who can barely remember his own birthday, got April and June. And Greg himself was listed for August. That made me cackle. Wait. Let me just... Hold on. This man Greg, the same dude who gave our guy a bad review for being too friendly on a phone call, just accidentally created the one system that would expose how incompetent he actually is. He's listed for August. His name is on the calendar he made. This is some Wile E. Coyote energy. He built the catapult, aimed it at someone else, and it's about to launch him straight into a cliff. If shooting yourself in the foot was a sport, Greg would be banned for performance-enhancing stupidity. I cannot wait for August. So Greg's morale week rolls around in August like a ticking time bomb. The whole office was holding its breath because, get this, he forgot. The man who created the system, made HR back it up, and put it in a company-wide memo just straight up, did not read his own spreadsheet. It was a Thursday afternoon when he figured it out. I was in the break room grabbing my second Diet Coke from the sketchy vending machine that eats bills and only accepts crisp ones. Greg walks in with that fake hey there energy, starts scanning the room like he's expecting balloons to materialize out of thin air. And then he goes, "So, what's the plan for next week?" I'm sipping my Coke. Silent. Didn't even blink. He looks around waiting for someone to chime in. Dead quiet. Finally Pam goes, "Oh, I think you're up next." You could see the blood drain from this man's face like someone unplugged his graphics card. He gives a weird little laugh and goes, "All right, yeah, just testing you all?" Nah. The panic was real. Monday comes. His week. His turn to be the morale machine. And he flopped harder than a fast food ice cream machine on a hot day. Day 1. Nothing. Not even a group email. The break room smelled like burnt popcorn and sadness. Day 2. He brings in a single box of donuts from 7-Eleven. Not even the good kind. 7-Eleven. And the worst part, half were already gone because he left the box open in the front office like bait. By the time most people got there, all that was left was one plain and a maple bar with somebody's thumbprint in the glaze. Day 3. A team lunch. We got Subway. Not the good kind either. He literally ordered 12 footlongs with no labels and dumped them on the break room table like it was a cafeteria line at summer camp. No drinks, no napkins, no plates, just a box of slightly warm sandwiches sweating in plastic wrap. Somebody asked which one was turkey, and Greg just shrugged and said, "I think the lighter ones." Bro, I used to print color-coded labels with allergen notes. This man pointed at a pile of sandwiches and guessed. By Wednesday afternoon, morale was somehow lower than before morale week started, which is impressive in a depressing way. Someone made a meme about the Subway incident and dropped it in the group chat. It was that photo of the sad birthday kid in front of a single balloon and a plain hot dog, but they'd photoshopped Greg's head on it with the caption, "Morale boosted." I won't lie, it had me crying. Day 4 was the true breaking point. Greg decided to surprise us with a team-building activity, a scavenger hunt, in the office, during work hours. I swear on my life, he printed riddles off some generic Pinterest board and hid Post-it notes under desks and chairs. One of the clues said, "Where do you go when nature calls?" And yes, we had grown adults rummaging through the office bathroom like it was a game show. People were furious. Nobody was getting work done. One woman from operations said she was on a deadline and asked if participation was mandatory. Greg said, "It's optional but encouraged," which everyone knows is corporate for "do it or I'll remember." Someone knocked over a filing cabinet, trying to reach behind it for a clue. The crash was so loud that 2 people from the floor below came up to check if someone had been hurt. HR sent out a warning about workplace safety during non-structured activities. I think that was the fastest I've ever seen an HR memo written. Couldn't make this up if I tried. Friday, final day. Greg announces a casual coffee chat in the break room at 9:30. He shows up at 9:42 with no coffee. Let me say that again for the people in the back. The coffee chat had no coffee. He literally sat on the edge of the counter and started rambling about finding joy in the workplace while sipping his own Starbucks venti something. Didn't even bring a box of K-cups for the rest of us. Didn't bring pastries. Didn't bring anything. Just showed up 12 minutes late with his own personal drink and started lecturing us about happiness. I've never seen so many people so simultaneously dead-eyed in my life. It was like a hostage video, except nobody was even pretending to be okay. And then it happened. Cole, bless this man, finally snapped. Cole's been with the company just as long as I have. Keeps his head down, runs the numbers, does his job. But this week must have pushed him over the edge because in the middle of Greg's speech about building culture, Cole just goes, "This is the worst morale week we've ever had." Air got sucked out of the room. Greg goes, "Well, I tried my best." And Cole fires back with, "If this was your best, I owe Nate an apology for every year we took him for granted." I nearly spit out my Diet Coke. People started nodding. Someone even clapped. I think it was Holly from payroll, who hasn't said a word in 3 years, unless it's about her cat's dietary needs. Greg looked like he'd just been told he was being audited by every government agency at once. He mumbled something about reassessing the rotation schedule and left the break room mid-chat, leaving the rest of us standing there with nothing but the memory of that thumbprint donut. That day, I got more thank yous than I had in the last 5 years combined. Cole even sent me a Starbucks gift card. Not a huge one, just $10. But it was the gesture. It meant something. Okay, stop! I need to talk directly to everyone listening right now. Greg hosted a coffee chat with no coffee. That's not a morale event. That's a hostage situation with worse catering. This man had 1 week, to do what Nate did for 10 years straight, and he showed up with gas station donuts and a Pinterest scavenger hunt that resulted in a workplace safety violation. That's like being asked to babysit for one afternoon, and somehow the house is on fire by lunch. And Cole coming in with that line? Chef's kiss. That man deserves a statue in the break room, right next to the dusty Keurig. But just when I thought things were cooling off, guess who called me into his office? Greg, again. He sends one of those vague calendar invites. Subject line: quick touch base, feedback, and forward planning. Full corporate speak, zero context, classic Greg. I show up exactly on time, not early, not late. I walk in with my iced coffee because it was $1 with the app that day. His office, by the way, looks like a dentist's waiting room. Weird neutral tones. A framed quote on the wall that says, "You miss 100% of the calls you don't join." And a plant that's 100% plastic, but still somehow covered in dust. He starts off all smiley. "Appreciate you making time. Wanted to have a quick chat after last week's, well, big experiment." I say nothing. Just sip my drink and let him squirm. He keeps going. "There's been a lot of feedback. Some good, some constructive. I wanted to personally acknowledge your past contributions in the morale space." The morale space. Like it's a department on a spaceship. I nod. Still quiet. Then he says, "I think there might have been some misunderstandings over the past few months. I just want to make sure we're aligned moving forward." So I finally speak. "Just to be clear, is this meeting about morale events? Or is this about how I stopped doing the free work that wasn't in my job description?" Greg's face twitched. Just for a second. Like he didn't expect me to say the quiet part out loud. He leans forward and goes, "Look, I think we both know your efforts have had a big impact on this office. But when people noticed the absence of that spark, it created a bit of a void. A void. So now I'm the office shaman apparently. I go, that void's been there for years. I was just patching it with cupcakes and my free time." Dead silence. Then the twist. Greg does this full-body sigh and admits, without quite saying it directly, that upper management noticed the dip in morale metrics since Q2. They asked him why things felt off. And here's the kicker. All those little things I'd been doing, the parties, the emails, the stupid gift bags, they'd been padding his department's culture scores the whole time. My free labor was making him look good to his bosses. And now that I'd stopped, his numbers were tanking. This man, the same guy who tanked my evaluation for listening to a coworker vent, was now sitting here trying to get me to unofficially pick up the morale wheel again. I asked him flat out, "Are you offering me a raise?" He blinked like I'd spoken Mandarin. "Well, there's no official budget increase right now, but maybe we could revisit your review next quarter." Revisit next quarter. I laughed. Actually laughed in his face. Couldn't help it. I told him, "You don't get to punish me for being a bad influence and then turn around and ask me to save your morale stats. That's not how this works." I didn't raise my voice. Didn't need to. The math was on my side, and we both knew it. His whole performance review, his culture scores, his reputation with upper management, all of it was propped up by a guy he'd just insulted 6 months ago. He opened his mouth like he was going to say something, then closed it, then opened it again. Looked like a fish that just realized the hook was already set. Then I stood up and walked out. Didn't look back, got myself a refill at the vending machine, and went about my day like nothing happened. That felt better than any cupcake I ever baked. By 3 p.m. that same day, the department gets an email from Greg announcing a morale committee. Voluntary, of course. Said it would allow creative minds across departments to collaborate and bring their unique talents to the table. Translation: He was hoping someone else would pick up the broken pieces of his catastrophic party week and do my job for free. The email had a Google form attached to sign up. Want to guess how many people filled it out? One person. It was Tina, obviously. She immediately replied all with, "This sounds so fun. Can't wait to brainstorm," with like 4 sparkle emojis. This woman didn't even plan her own wedding. Her mom did it. Greg replied, "Thank you, Tina. Your enthusiasm is exactly what this team needs." Like he hadn't been publicly roasted over expired donuts just days before. Cole sent me a screenshot of the email and just wrote, "He's cooked." I laughed so hard I choked on my orange chicken. Actually, that was lunch the next day. Wait, no, it was that same afternoon. Whatever. Point is, Panda Express was involved and it got messy. Final update. But here's where nobody saw it coming. HR reached out to me again. Not for a check-in, not for a complaint. With an offer. A real one. It's about a week after the morale committee email flopped harder than a celebrity apology video. I'm just cruising through work at this point. Head down, tasks handled, headphones in, iced coffee always within reach. My whole energy was just, I am not the one. Then I get an email from Brooke in HR, vanilla-scented Brooke, from the passive disengagement meeting, asking me to stop by for a quick conversation. I figured here we go again, but this time, totally different vibe. I walk in. She's alone. No Greg, no printouts. Just this weird little smile, like she knows something I don't. She starts casual. We've been reviewing department trends and noticed a really interesting pattern. She pulls up this internal report and, get this, there's a literal morale trend graph. Some intern actually tracked employee mood over time based on surveys and participation metrics. And there's this massive drop starting right around February. Right when I quit doing all the extra stuff. Then she hits me with it. They'd been talking with leadership about creating a new role, culture coordinator, part of an employee experience pilot. I laughed at first because that sounds like the most corporate nonsense title ever invented. But then she says it would come with a 15% salary bump, a discretionary budget for events, and I'd report directly to HR. Not under Greg anymore. I just sat there for a second, like really sat with it. 10 years I'd been doing this stuff invisibly, out of my own pocket, on my own time, and now someone was actually sitting across from me saying, "We see what you did, and we want to pay you for it." I'm not gonna lie, that hit different. Not in some big emotional way. Just this quiet feeling of finally. Like when you've been standing in line forever, and they finally open a second register. I asked if Greg knew. Brooke says, "We've had conversations. He's aware this position would not fall under his supervision." Translation, he's furious and probably terrified, and it all clicked. Greg wasn't just trying to rope me back in to help, he was trying to protect his numbers. Because if I left his team officially, the whole illusion of his positive leadership would crash and burn. He'd lose the one thing that had been keeping morale from free-falling. I asked for 24 hours to think about it, went home, sat with it, 10 years of running the unpaid birthday party circus, burning my weekends on gift bags and Target runs. And now they finally saw it. Next day, I walked into Greg's office without knocking. This dude looked like he'd seen a ghost. Probably thought I was there to apologize. Instead, I just said, "Hey, just letting you know I've accepted the culture coordinator role. I'll be reporting to Brooke moving forward." You could hear his jaw hit the carpet. He goes, "Oh, I see." I smiled. "Yep. So I guess this is my last week under your management. Just wanted to give you the courtesy before the announcement goes out." He didn't say a word. Just stared at his desk like it had personally betrayed him. The following Monday, the email went out company-wide. People lost their minds. My inbox blew up. Folks from legal and operations I barely knew were sending messages like, "Finally," and "Long overdue." One guy from the 5th floor who I'd only spoken to maybe twice sent me a message that said, "You carried us and we all knew it. Congrats, man." Tina sent a full paragraph with like 17 exclamation points. Bless her heart. Cole just sent a thumbs up emoji, which from Cole is basically a standing ovation. And Greg? Man looked like a ghost at the next all-hands meeting. He sat in the back, which he never does. Someone tried to hand him a morale calendar printout, and he said he was phasing the program out. Nobody argued, nobody cared. I've been in the new role for 2 months now. I get a monthly budget. I delegate. I don't bake anymore unless I feel like it. I actually set up a rotating subcommittee, where people volunteer and get time off vouchers for helping out. Imagine that. Appreciation for extra work. The events are better now too, honestly, because it's not just me running on fumes and resentment. People actually want to be involved when there's something in it for them. Wild concept. And the best part? My job now is literally to make the office a better place, but on my terms, with actual support and a paycheck that reflects it. I sit in meetings now where people ask for my opinion on stuff and actually write it down. That's new. That's weird. But I'm getting used to it. There's still one weird thing though. Greg hasn't spoken to me directly since. Not once. We pass each other in the hallway, and he just kind of nods and keeps walking. I don't know if that ever changes. Honestly, don't really care at this point. Some things just aren't worth fixing. So, am I wrong for stepping back when I wasn't appreciated? What would you guys have done? Look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend this guy's some kind of genius. He was doing the same thing a lot of people do, giving way too much to people who didn't notice until the free stuff stopped showing up. But the move? The move was perfect. He didn't yell. He didn't send a dramatic email. He just stopped. And the whole system collapsed. That's not petty. That's just finally knowing what you're worth. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Would you have taken the new role or would you have bounced entirely? And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that button. We got more stories like this coming. See you in the next one.